we are back to higher density living. Now, some episodes back, we had talked about the Plejaren prophecies, okay, which were spoken about.
Pretty depressing.
Yeah, they're
not like that chocolate we just ate, pecan chocolate.
that fucking slapped.
This coffee?
Absolutely slapped. It was delicious. Witchcraft, like I said, whoever made that. But the prophecies were brought into a modern format, so it's more understandable. And what we want to discuss today is what the Plejaren want for, or what they hope for human beings, right? Earth humans, what they want us to achieve. And I'd like to put something in here to, I have my own hair in my mouth because my hair is so long. I want to put something here. I want to preface this. My father asked me to preface this. He just called me a couple moments ago. And he said, can you please just bring up the fact that before we even get into things, talk about what the Plejarens want for Earth humans, that we need to be reminded that our technology has advanced so quickly. And because we did not give it a foundation of higher spiritual values and principles, it is now collapsing in on itself. And we are seeing that everywhere with our technology and society itself. Okay? Because society is founded, it's elevated itself on these shifting sands, which are not a good foundation for us to continue to evolve off of.
Yeah, I view technology like money. It's energy. And so if you're an asshole and you have money, then you just 10x your assholeness.
Sure.
You know, like you see like Rockstar, if you had problems with drugs, now you have unlimited amount of drugs, you're just going to go. It's the same with technology. If humanity has certain issues, the technology is going to only exacerbate those issues.
Very good, Jason.
If you see what I'm saying.
Very good. Exacerbate.
Exacerbate.
I know, it's a tough word.
That's a tough one.
It really is. So let's get into, you have it, I don't have it. Can you show everybody what we're looking at here? So these are the printed contact.
Heavy.
Yeah, that's
20 pounds.
One of 3 volumes of the printed contact reports, from which Billy Eduard Albert Meier had started with in the 50s, or a little bit before that with the Plejaren. And this was, when was the date recorded on this one?
With the Plejaren Wish for Earth Humans presented by Quetzal in Contact Report number 215 on Saturday, February 28th, 1987 at 2:09 a.m.
Quetzal the Pretzel.
I love it.
Okay. So, what are these numbered? Like, what?
Yeah, they have 1, 2, 3. So, number 1, for the Earth humans, we wish that they, in all love and reason, tend toward bringing an end to all aggression, acts of violence, and wars, as well as all criminality, all hate, all discord, every bondage, as well as any craving for vengeance and retaliation.
You know, you and I had spoken about this, that I was reading on genetic history of us, that we were, bred to have these traits. So I guess thing number 1 is to reduce that aggression, which causes us to kill and hate one another. If you can't stop that, how are you going to do anything else? You know what I mean? If you're at such a level of a lack of love and understanding, we can't even get to 2 to 3 or however many there are on this list if we don't stop beating the shit out of one another currently at this moment.
Yeah, myself versus yourself.
And that's all it is. There's the view they're asking us to end is the view of opposition. That needs to go away.
And yourself is wrong.
Yeah.
You have the wrong flag.
Yeah.
You have the wrong border.
Your religion sucks.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm separate from you and I'm better.
Yeah, this makes total obvious sense.
Yes.
But again, you can't do anything until you've done that.
So in number 2, in order that correct justice and humanity, as well as true reverence for life can prevail, it is our desire that in all countries worldwide, torture as well as the death penalty be abolished, and laws are enacted where every life and the right to soundness of the body and psyche are respected and placed under legal protection.
Awesome. There are so many places, so many cultures that do not respect those balances. Where even religions that inhibit those balances, even the respect for women in their place in this world, which is totally equal with men. Those things are not there. In the death penalty, that justice, it's murder. It's just, that's all it is. It's just,
Yeah, we did a whole episode on that.
At
That
the
was
end-
one of our biggest shorts. You did a short on where you're taking people to an island.
Mm.
You should see how many comments are on that.
Really?
They're like, that should be a reality show, blah, blah, some funny stuff. But,
Oh, cool.
But there's probably 50 comments
That's great.
on that one. Like, but it's a great idea because you're not murdering someone.
Murder.
If they murder each other, that's on them.
Yeah. And you're not here to beget more murder onto someone that's hypocritical.
Right.
And it goes against their free will, so abolish that. Get rid of the torture. There's no reason to torture and enslave people.
You're also not creating a prison industrial complex that is going against anybody's free will either. If you just drop them on an island, then they have total free will. They still have their freedom. It's combined into a small island. If they build a raft or something like that, and they make it, if they die in the waters, they die in the waters. If they make it back, then you just take them right back.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah. You're going back.
Yeah, you're going back. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was like soundness of like mind and body and protecting those
And
things.
psyche. Yeah.
None of that stuff gets protected.
No, especially
And
especially here. Like I'm talking United States. I mean, we're so we so view human rights as important, but then our actions as a state,
Just think about how
is
people
so
are
against it. I
around
mean, we were the only ones that dropped. Talking about Oppenheimer, and we're the only ones that did that.
Yeah, we're the only ones that dropped it.
It's so horrific. We're like, oh my god, Russia. We'll talk to Japan about what we did to them. We dropped nuclear bombs.
We literally incinerated
Whole cities.
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of human beings instantaneously in a flash.
No one. China hasn't done it. Russia hasn't done it. Iran, North Korea. No one else has done it but us.
And because we don't have rights respecting these things, we create systems and chemicals and foodstuffs and technology which become damaging.
Yes.
Okay. And, we don't have the proper systems to protect life. And they use reverence for life, which is the line I think that Albert Schweitzer actually coined. And he wrote a couple books on this, and he was a fantastic humanitarian, spent a lot of time running a hospital in Africa.
Right.
Cool dude. Looked a lot like Einstein. They almost looked identical. And they were actually, I think they were born at the same time.
There was so much happening in the early 1900s. It's crazy.
No, like really crazy. And
In a good way. I think there was like a spiritual
spiritual renaissance.
yeah.
That's the word you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
And because of the reverence for life, it's not just protections of human life, but it's flora and fauna. We don't have proper protections over forests and species like we should. And we don't realize that because we don't protect these things, we're also damaging ourselves as human beings. Like, why wouldn't you want those protections in place?
Yes, 100%. Number 3, we wish that a normal state of population and births be strived for on Earth. And in this regard, so they're going to get more detailed on this, effective worldwide birth control be enforced because only through this can too excessive and overpopulation be avoided. I want to stop there. I would disagree. Maybe it's the translation.
Birth control is throwing you off?
No, effective worldwide birth control be enforced. I wonder what the German word that was in the original of this with Billy Meier, and then look the be enforced. That seems like you're going against somebody's free will.
Yeah, let's find out.
If you're like, no, you can't. I get it. I get overpopulation. I understand all that.
Wird durchgesetzt.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. But to say birth control be enforced, I think you're going against somebody's free will to reproduce. You know what I mean?
I think
as it is banning abortions, I think it's wrong to tell a woman what she should do with her body.
I don't think they're saying that. They don't break free will. I think there is a recommendation
that's a key
that
word.
people should intellectually enforce an idea not to have more children than what is reasonable.
Yeah, and you can incentivize that. That's not going against somebody's free will.
And that's I've read all the material.
I just don't want people to get.
I know that. I know that.
We're done with this.
I read all the material, and so if people just grab that and they read it misunderstand it out of context, it's not very helpful.
It's also we always want to place these aliens or channeling material, or whatever, or the Bible or any of these things as like God's inherent word or aliens' inherent word. They can make mistakes as much as we can.
And they're not telling us what's the right thing to do. They're only recommending.
I wonder what density, like raw density level Plejaren are. Are they 5th density? Sixth densities, you kind of get into unit, like oneness.
Yeah, they're low.
Are they fourth, high fourth?
High fourth, low fifth for some of them.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
High fourth, low fifth. Totally advanced.
That would make sense to me, yeah.
Totally advanced, fantastic understandings of many things. And these are just recommendations.
Because they're viewing it from like a United Nations perspective.
Yeah.
Where it's oneness, because that's fourth density, so that they would view it this way.
That's how they see it.
So because only through this can too excessive an overpopulation be avoided, and even further privation, criminality, hate against fellow men, wars, exploitation of Earth's resources to the utmost, as well as new diseases, epidemics, and misery be avoided and contained.
Sure. So it's really difficult to maintain herd immunity when you have so many people. And when there's a lack of arable land, things that produce foodstuffs and other resources for humans to survive, and there's a higher demand for those things with lack of supply for it, it creates geopolitical and physical stresses on societies, which cause them to go into war and strife and then hate and jealousy of the other because they have resources, others don't. We're starving, you're not. And so when you have an increase in those populations, what they have seen through their studies over time is that it's highly detrimental to the growth of human beings and their evolution by having too many people. It actually is slowing and hindering the evolution, and it's actually killing us at a fundamental level. That's how they see it.
Yes, yeah, I get that. Number 4, a means of food production should be strived for on earth among all people, and these goods should be distributed in such a manner that the misery of hunger no longer develops, and therefore all people have enough food.
Okay, so a practice, which would be that every place that a person lives or resides in, their residence, should also carry a small, self-sustainable farming operation.
Yes.
And as you grow things in your little farm, your raised beds, if you have more than what you need, you share it with those that didn't have the ability to do that. And now the reliance isn't on large, centralized, monocropping farming operations, but everybody can self-sustain at these local levels amongst one another and share things. And so there's no food waste. Right. They give it to those that actually need it, and then nobody can go hungry.
Yes.
And every single plot of land should have enough space so that people can run their own farm like that.
I like that. Number 5, Earth humans should no longer be destructive in all areas of science and in the cultivation of land and forests.
Okay, so again, just like my father asked me to preface this episode, our technology has advanced so fast without the spiritual values, it is collapsing on itself. It is destroying what we are doing here. So repeat what you just said.
Earth humans should no longer be destructive in all areas of science and in the cultivation of land and forests, as well as water utilization, etc., but rather be constructive and progressive. This also refers to the preservation of a healthy atmosphere and even more threatening climatic change, with reference to that which originates through human fault.
Do you know, I don't know.
Let me stop because I want people to understand this. And we talked about the areas of sciences in the cultivation of land and forests. It did not say buy a bunch of land and forest and let it do its thing.
No.
It's really interesting. I was watching a guy from here in New Mexico, and he had a regenerative farm, and his farm was desert, and then he turned it into this growing green with hardly using any water. There's apple trees. He has dahlia flowers. It's like super beautiful. So his neighbors is all like
hard clay,
just nasty, and his soil is amazing and everything else, and it's all organic, all that. He said, the cows that are out there, you need to have, and this was interesting, he says, what was the animal that was causing the land to be fertile here in those days? He's like, we don't have buffalo like we used to. He goes, the reason you had grass and all that stuff was because you had buffalo. It was constantly churning up the ground. They're moving around. They're shitting. They're pulling the seeds, spreading seeds, all doing all these things.
Rerooting, stuff like that.
So he says cows can do that now, like in the sense of, and he goes, by letting them go into not the way that it's done, in factory farming, but he's like, the way that it's done. I mean, even if he uses his cows he mainly had dairy cows. So he uses them to make soap, make cheeses, get milk, raw milk, all that stuff. But these Jersey cows, he just had them like hanging out, walking around in these different fields. And what was happening was different weeds and stuff like that were responding to it. And then the weed would become, over time, like a couple of years, would become diseased. And that would in turn allow the grass seed to come up. And then you were able to, and then he's like, if you only take streams and dam them like a beaver does, and then you make, if you want to have water, so how he would get water to, let's say, his orchard or whatever, is you make a small like divot in the ground from that beaver dam, a small divot in the ground, and then it slowly, when the water gets a certain area, then it kind of slowly trickles down into that area. You know, instead of using like fertilizer and big sprinklers and sucking everything down, you know, and he's like, plants get used to getting watered when it comes to the seasons and stuff like that.
Yeah, not just artificially.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything's, so the reason I'm saying this is he says cultivation of lands and forests.
It's not just, say like buy
cultivation is a
preserve.
big word.
No. Like out here, you can do amazing things. Cultivation requires working with nature, keeping things in harmonious balance. Amanda and I have very good friends called Jeff and Barbara Billings, and they had purchased some land here in Nambe, New Mexico.
Oh, that's a beautiful
area. But what they got was all hardened clay. But I didn't know this because when I showed up to their property, it was like a lush paradise.
right.
Truthfully, trees, farms, like the crops, the multiple different species of grass, everything about this place was totally harmonious. And that's all I knew. But I didn't realize that they took a dry, hardened clay, deserted area and cultivated it into something beautiful, which was beneficial for all the species in the ecosystem around that area.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. And it's being at one with nature and then understanding in our self-awareness that we are caretakers of the earth.
And I have massive respect for those two. They're very hardworking, and every time I'm around them, their land is also a cultivation of their personalities.
100%.
And it cultivates such good feelings when you're with these people. And they've spent so much time working with nature and learning from it. They're fantastic dispositions of personality, and Amanda and I are very thankful to know these two.
Oh, that it creates so much oneness when you're in nature.
Yes.
It handles you. It gives you also time to be super self-aware. Like you have time if you're doing a task that you've done 1,000 times before. It allows your brain to be able to go, and you can control your thoughts. It allows your brain to be able to go into self-awareness. So in the process of being out in nature, whether you're hiking or whatever, you know, or doing farm work, for me, if I'm intentional in what I'm doing, I have the right atmosphere around me. I'm in the right matrix. So now it's just getting this tuned in.
You're cultivating.
Yeah,
you cultivate thoughts. You cultivate the land.
Yes.
Do you know it's a really beautiful thing that they're asking for, and you have to really clearly, read into it, because it's just like I got to buy and just leave this land, because then it's not offering any value. But things can be turned into things of great value if work is put into it.
Yeah, I love that. Number 6, Earth humans should consciously unfold in the forms of love and knowledge. I got to stop right there because this is so beautiful. Consciously unfold in the forms of love and knowledge. The unfolding part is fucking me up.
Yeah, because there's
in a good way.
You know how I see it? A rose?
Yes.
It unfolds itself into something quite beautiful. All of its petals, all of its layers. But layer by layer, Jason, if you watch a rose slowly, it'll drop the outermost, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. And this whole thing, it folds itself into something beautiful, which is, it's encompassing. It has a beautiful symmetry to it. You know, there's it's like this thing on your arm.
Right.
See how this has unfolded itself geometrically?
Yeah, exactly.
Nature does that. Creation wants that. And love can unfold as you start to understand more. And when you have a foundational understanding, all those other internal folds can be supported as that thing unfolds itself.
Yeah, I kind of looked at the opposite of that, like unconscious folding in. You know, like fear folds you in.
Darkness.
Like, you know, like this whole idea of like contracting.
Yeah.
Where you have consciously unfolding, and then you're doing it in the form of love and knowledge. It's kind of like oh shit, I have to have humility and be open. And then I allow that to happen in my evolution. You know, like I'm being self-aware enough to where it's like, am I folding in or am I unfolding, you know?
I agree, yeah.
And then he goes even more, as well as in true humanity, and recognize creation given evolution as the highest goal and meaning of life.
Yeah, we have one thing to do. That's to evolve.
Why did he use the word given? To recognize creation given evolution.
Because you have...
It's given to us as a gift?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are given the energy, the ability to exist, and a spirit which wants to evolve. We didn't just create this spirit. It's a part of something larger, gifted to us so that we can use it and then evolve that thing to bring it back so that this first thing which created it can learn more. It's like the hive sends out the bees to get the pollen. They learn and they bring it back and the hive develops further. Think about that concept.
Also recognizing that it is a gift.
It is.
Then having appreciation for that.
Dude,
and gratitude.
You and I talked about this like a couple episodes back. It's a real gift to be a human being. Truly is. And if more people saw that, it would change a lot of different things. That love, that understanding would truly unfold.
Well, like odds are against you being born. They've talked about that. Like it's like 1 trillion to 1 or something. Number 7, Earth humans should utilize their sciences in such a manner that true positive progress develops in every respect. This is hard. This is hard to do.
Well, it's hard to do because...
Especially when it comes to science.
Because our science has no spiritual foundations to it.
No, there's no spiritual science.
So would they have used fission technology to create a bomb if we had spiritual principles?
No, you would have created free energy.
You would have been doing cool stuff like that, right? You would have used that technology for MRI machines rather than bomb first. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's one thing we need to look at because every time we create new tech, we're using it for bad stuff. AI? What was it used for? Controlling people, monitoring faces, right? Algorithms to change people's behaviors without them knowing. All the stuff gets weaponized first. We don't have the principles in our science to develop a technology that is actually spiritually beneficial so that we evolve properly and the technology evolves properly.
And it could be such a beautiful thing if it was if our creation of the technology was understood in our evolution, then we could evolve faster with the technology.
Much faster.
Spiritually faster is what I'm talking
about. Much faster.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Our goal is not material development. Our goal is spiritual development. Because again, it's a gift to be a human being, right? And we're here to evolve. That's what we want to do.
That's so, it's so opposite of what we're seeing now. It's disheartening. Number 8, the cognition, knowledge, experience, as well as wisdom should grow within Earth humans, that they are not the only human life forms in the entire universe and are furthermore, but a fraction of the whole within the universe.
Think about how it's written. The Earth humans. Not the Jupiter humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the Pluto humans. Not the Sirius humans.
Yes.
Not the Plejaren humans. The Earth humans. We are one of many. Like they said, we are a fraction. Even the way they write reinforces the idea that it is specifically describing us as the Earth human being. Not us as human beings, but the Earth human being.
I love that. Yeah, Earth humans.
You feel that?
Yeah. But I also think it creates a kinship, not only with this planet, but with the universe, like in the sense of saying, and I'm talking in a physical manner, but like, oh, there's a bigger picture here. Me focusing, like astronauts talk about, like when they see the Earth, it changes them dramatically, you know, and then you're not seeing an Indian flag, a Pakistani flag, a China flag, you know, you're just seeing Earth humans.
That's it.
Yeah, with different expressions and different reflections and different skin colors and eye colors. And it's just so cool because there's so much variant.
And they're all sitting there on one big blue jewel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Oh, that's so good.
What an opportunity to remove yourself from the planet for a moment. Like that's an incredible opportunity to just leave and be able to see it from such a third party perspective.
Yeah, it says every single one of them said it changed their life.
You know,
after they see it.
You know, it was changing for me like when I started flying airplanes because I see the world differently. I couldn't imagine leaving the atmosphere.
So the flat earthers say, like, why don't you adjust for it going down in a circle when you're in a plane?
For fuck's sake.
I want to do an episode on flat earth. But I want to go down like I've watched a couple of them, but I want to put in the comments a really good convincing video that we can watch, whether it's on Rumble or YouTube or whatever. Put a link in, guys. If you're a flat earther, give me your best.
I want the fucking best.
I want if it's 3 hours, if it's 2 hours, an hour, whatever. I'll watch it and then let's do an episode on it. I think it would be wild.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I'd do that.
Yeah,
I'd do that.
Okay, you know what's funny? The Bible talks about the earth being round.
It's because it is.
Yeah, it talks about the circumference of the earth, which was how long ago?
Yeah.
Before people figured this shit out. Okay, but maybe you can convince me the other way.
How could, if you think about it, you have...
I like flat pizzas, like the flat, the ones that are square and long.
Yeah. Those are good. Those are legit Italian pies.
Yeah, with the thin crust.
But what did the Greeks figure out? When the Greeks were down in ancient Egypt, they looked at the obelisks. Okay? You had one up by Alexandria or something, by the Great Pyramid, and then another one down in Luxor. How is it that there are two different lengths of their shadows at the same time of day? Curvature.
Yes.
Because of the angle of the sun on the curved earth.
Well, I mean, unless you don't believe that that we're doing satellites and they've taken pictures. And I mean, it doesn't matter whether you believe they've gone to the moon or not, whatever. But obviously they've taken pictures of the earth. You know, they've gone out far enough, which some people don't believe that.
How would our gravity work?
Well, how are you going to get people in the hollow part of the earth if it's not round?
Could you imagine the fucking gravity?
Well, I mean,
edges?
what's this? The lines that go out from the core?
Van Allen belts.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's
been proven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I will sit there. Like a good Bigfoot documentary. I will watch the whole thing if you send me a link.
Give it me.
Yeah, I want us to do a podcast on that. Okay, next, number 9. True peace, as well as true love and freedom, should finally prevail on earth and among all human beings, regardless of skin color, race, and faith.
You were just saying this with the astronauts.
Yeah. Without hate, revenge, jealousy, craving for retaliation, privation, misery, murder, homicide, terror, and wars.
I don't even think that needs explanation.
No.
But do you know what's cool though? Like you got that into 9?
Yeah.
9 couldn't occur if you didn't layer 1 through 8 before it.
Oh,
do you realize
100%,
how each of these are stacking?
Yes.
There's so much. There's a fantastic evolution to the beings that wrote and spoke this.
Yeah, I like how they use the word true peace, true love, and freedom.
Well, how much?
And I wonder what the word true in the German is. We're going to have to get like a German concordance or something.
Yeah, I need that. Let me look up the word true.
You should buy one. Send me one and I'll.
Var.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But like, think about like a false peace. An agreement that politicians and countries made not to build nuclear arms, or we're having an armistice, or whatever it might be. You know, we're like, oh, we're good with one another, but behind the scenes, we're like, we're fucking gonna get these guys.
Yeah, we'll sign this, but really, what we're saying is that we're going to go in economic agreement and make billions of dollars, and I'm going to hook you up, and you're going to hook me up.
It's all false. False peace.
It's a false peace. Yeah.
Okay.
And true love and freedom.
Oh, come on. I wish. I wish.
And then finally, number 10. This is a long one. Are you ready?
Yeah, we'll end on 10.
Yes. It should come to an end that the countries of earth, even the poorest and most underdeveloped among them, maintain armies that are armed to the teeth and senselessly burn away innumerable sums of money in the billions, which could and should be used for the true well-being of the people. So true on this. Thus, it should finally cease that politicians and the military, as well as the most diverse organizations everywhere in the world, talk about peace and freedom. love, and humanity, in order to justify tremendous financial expenditures on the one hand, and on the other hand, to snatch up even more of these funds for purposes of war and terror, and to heat up the weapons industry so that further acts of terrorism war can be carried out with the new weapons.
You knew this. You just talked about this with economic.
Well, this is so interesting too. If you look at like BlackRock, for instance, I'm not picking on them, but I mean they have whether you take BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, all these.
Those are big.
There's 80% of the S&P 500. They're in control of that money. It's $11 trillion.
That's a problem.
So if I'm, and I'm not saying whether, I forgot the guy's name for BlackRock.
Larry?
Yeah, Larry Fink. Is that what it is?
It just came to me.
It is. I think it is that. Yeah.
I'm going to look it up while you're talking. Keep going.
If I'm in control of 80% of the S&P 500.
Sure.
And I go to Raytheon, I go to
Larry Fink.
Yeah, I go to Raytheon. I came with the last, you did the first. Perfect. Yeah. I go to Raytheon, I go to General Dynamics, I go to Boeing, I go to all of these military industrial complex. And then I go and I say, who are the top shareholders in each of these military industrial complexes? And lo and behold, I see that these same companies that control 80% S&P 500 are the top promoters of the military industrial complex.
It's a big moneymaker.
So if I'm Elon Musk and I'm worth $100 billion, and I control one company, Tesla, and X, Twitter, shitter, whatever you call it, and then, but I look at that, it's like, okay, whatever. This guy's controlling 11 trillion.
Right.
Who's in control? Is it the politician?
No, never.
If I can turn around and influence. How much influence do I have when I'm in control of 80% of the S&P 500?
You have all the influence.
Exactly.
You have all of it.
So that's what I'm saying. Whenever we look at this, you need poor and underdeveloped countries. You need armies. You need disease. You need all of these things. They're not going to cure anything. Why would the pharmaceutical industrial complex cure cancer?
You wouldn't want to do it. They want to keep people sick.
How much money do they make off of chemotherapy, which is from what, the 1940s?
So much money. Just burning people's bodies on the inside out.
I watch this with bees, and you'll get this because there's an organic way to handle bees, and there's the old school way that everybody does with bees. Mm-hmm. So we got a mite, and it starts with a V. I forgot the name of it, but I had a hive that got mites on them. And there's two ways that you can handle the mite. The organic way, I'll give you the good way. The organic way is you can buy a tray that fits on the bottom that the bees can't fit into. And you put a sticky pad underneath there. And the bees are good at pulling the mites off their backs. And they will like kind of throw them. But then they just crawl back on and get on the bee. But what it is the sticky plate with the filter that will filter out the things but not the bees. So the bees don't get stuck on it like a sticky paper. Yeah. You'll just see that whole thing covered with mites. And the bees kind of catch on like, oh, if I throw this mite off, it's really wild. So I cured, because I did the other way. The other way is taking radiation powder and you sprinkle it on the bees. And this powder causes the bee's immune system to drop really low, but it's enough to kill the mite because the mite's smaller.
That's so fucked up.
But that's what we do with chemotherapy.
That's exactly right.
And now we're going to do it with nature when there's like more productive ways. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's definitely more productive ways. And we're spending tons of money, and even in the poorest countries.
Trillions.
Arming themselves.
Yeah.
And then you have all these other parts of the society which becomes crippled, but what? We're armed to the teeth because we don't understand one another? Because we're worried about going to war constantly? Come on.
How many politicians do you see talk about true peace, true love, and freedom?
I haven't seen one.
I haven't heard of it. I think the new guy's coming on the scene. I don't know him that well.
Kennedy?
Yeah, Robert Kennedy. He seems to want to be uniting people. And so his messages are always like, hey, let's unite. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that, but we'll see. And he says, in order to justify tremendous financial expenditures on the one hand, and on the other hand, to snatch up even more of these funds for purposes of war and terror.
Sure.
And to heat up the weapons industry. If you're heating it up, more shareholder value, more profits.
You got to grow it, right?
You have to.
You got to spend more on R&D. And how do you do that?
Yes.
More turmoil, false peace, more wars.
New weapons, more money. Yeah, it's just this. We're in this false loop and we've profited from it to the point. And I'm not saying like Larry Fink's a bad guy or whatever. I know he's trying to do like environmental stuff and help him. I don't know him either. So I'm not saying any of these companies are bad. I'm just saying this is where it's gotten to, and this is where it's come to. And we know the military industrial complex is been self-funding itself to the point of, through our tax-paying dollars, to the point of where in Afghanistan, I think we spent $1 trillion.
Sure.
We could have eliminated homelessness like 10 times with $1 trillion.
No. But why? Why would you do that?
Or $1 trillion to help cities that are like in Detroit and these different areas that are underdeveloped.
But instead, we
educational systems.
Step on other people's lands, tell them how to live, just absolutely remove their free will and just destroy any remnants of, a positive past where they can be self-responsible for themselves. And we just have to determine that we're the police officers of the world, and we need to keep building bigger guns because other people are going to do it too. And we'll figure out all of our problems later, and trickle-down economics works. And it's like, it's a fucking scam. It's just one big fucking racket, the entire thing.
It's a scam.
It's a scam. And the people, these Plejaren, who are not from Earth, see it.
It's easy.
Loud and clear.
Pull yourself out.
Yeah, if you remove yourself for a moment, you can see it. And we'll have to come back for a part 2 on this, but thank you for listening for the 1 through 10, for which the Plejaren hope for and recommend to the human beings here of Earth so that we have a nice, prosperous, and evolutive future. Thank you very much.